Hello students, today we'll be learning about the arithmetic of roots. We'll learn how to add, subtract, and multiply. Here's our warm-up. Go ahead and pause the screen and complete these 3 problems. Now that you're complete, let's go ahead and work through this together. The square root of 50. So we need to break this down into the factor tree. I'll do the factor tree. So 5 and 10. 5 times 7. 10 is 5. I can't break down these any further, so I circle the very end of them and complete the problem back over. So 50 is 5 times 5 times 2. Remembering from our last lesson, anytime you see a pair, you can take it out. When we take it out, notice you only take out one number. So we take out a 5, and we leave the 2 underneath the square root sign because it doesn't have a pair. Number 2, the square root of 9 over 4. This can be written like this, the square root of 9 over 4. And we can take the square root of the numerator and the square root of the denominator. The square root of 9 is 3, and the square root of 4 is 4. So we leave it as 3 over 2. And lastly, the square root of 200. So the same as the first one, just a big number. 200 is 20 times 10. And we really can use any factor. We just need to break it down as far as we can. 20 is 2 times 10. And I can keep going further. There are a couple shortcuts you can take. If you notice that there is already a pair, you can actually stop here. But just to be consistent, I'm going to keep breaking this down all the way, just as I've done before. Now circle what's at the very end of the bracket. Notice that I'm not circling the tens because those aren't at the end. Now writing in all of these factors underneath the square root sign, I have a 2, 2, and a 2, and a 5, and a 5. Now circling pairs, I have a pair of 2, so I can take one of those out, and a pair of 5. So the 2 comes to the outside, and the 5 also comes to the outside with a multiplication sign in between, and 2 stays underneath the square root sign. Finally, multiply. 2 times 5 is 10. Square root. Okay, now let's get into the lesson for today. So we're going to learn how to add and subtract roots. There are 2 simple instructions here. First, we need to simplify the roots. And number 2 says determine if the roots could be added. If the roots are the same, they can be added. If the roots are different, they can't be added or subtracted. So looking at example 1, it says to simplify. 3 square root 8 minus 2 square root 2. First, notice that these do not have the same square root. We have an 8 and a 2. So looking at the problem, we can't add or subtract them right away. First, we need to get the same number underneath the square root sign. So first, simplify. The square root of 8 here. Let's break down 8 into 2 times 4. And 4 breaks down to 2 times 2. So circle the ends of it here. And now this 3 stays on the outside. And 8 breaks down to 2 times 2 times 2. And I still have this 2 square root over here. And 2 cannot break down any further, so I'm just rewriting it there. Now I see a pair underneath the square root sign, so it comes out. It comes out by being multiplied. So the 3 comes down, and this 2 comes to the outside with a multiplication sign in between. And this 2 stays underneath the square root sign. Lastly, go ahead and simplify. So this is 3 times 2, which is 6, square root 2, minus 2 square root 2. After doing all of this simplification, now notice that we have the same number, 2, underneath the square root sign. Now we're allowed to add or subtract. It says subtract, so I'm subtracting 6 minus 2, which is 4, and I leave square root 2 just as it is. Let's go ahead and do example 2 in the same way. So this one says 3 square root 8 minus 2 square root 3. So as before, we don't have the same number under the square root sign, so we need to break down and simplify. 8 is 2 times 4, 4 is 2 times 2. So I'm simplifying. I have the 3 square root, and now instead of 8, I'm putting it back just as before. So I can bring down this 2 square root 3. 3 can't be broken down, and so I can just leave it as it is. So I do a pair, and it comes out. So this ends up being 3 times 2 on the outside, and 3 is underneath the square root. And simplifying more, 3 times 2 is 6, square root 2, cubed, square root 3. So now we can go back and read what it says up here. It says, if the roots are the same, they can be added. If the roots are different, they can't be added. And this should really be added or subtracted. The roots are different, 2 and a 3. So we need to leave this as our final answer, and it can't be simplified any further. Now multiply. Looking at example 3, it says the square root of 5 times the square root of 10. So there's a couple different ways you can go about doing this. One is to just continue doing what we've been doing and break down into fractions. So when we do the square root of 5, that cannot be broken down any further. However, 10 is 5 times 2. So I can write another 5 and 2 underneath the square root sign. This 5 is here, this 5 is here, and this 2 is here. Seeing the pair, I circle it and I bring it outside. I end up getting 5 square roots. Some students prefer multiplying right away and then breaking it down. So if you'd like to do this one a different way, you can actually multiply 5 and 10 first. So for example, you could get the square root of 50. If you'd like to multiply 5 times 10, breaking down the 50, you get 5 and 10. And then 10 breaks down to 5 and 2. You can see really quickly we end up with the same factors underneath the square root. So either way is okay to do. This is the square I showed you, and this is the second one. Each leading to the exact answer. And looking at example 4, we can go ahead and do this one as well. So 2 square root 4, I'm going to simplify this first. Let me organize this a little better for you, so let me separate. So breaking this down, 4 is 2 times 2. So I can write this 2 comes down here. Square root of 2 times 2 factors. I see a pair, so it comes outside. So when it comes out, we're left with 2 times 2. Nothing is left inside the square root sign, so I don't need to write anything there. And 2 times 2 is 4. All of this is simplifying to 2 square root 4. Now looking at 3 square root 20. We'll go ahead and break down 20, which is 5 times 4. And 4 breaks down to 2 and 2. So writing these factors, I have the 3 on the outside. And then I have square root of 5 times 2 times 2. There's a pair. So this pair of 2's come out, and I end up with 3 times 2. And the square root of 5 stays underneath, since there's no pair. Simplifying, 3 times 2 is 6, square root 5. Now let's see where we're left off. we still need to multiply. This first expression, 3 square root of 4, simplifies to 4. And this first expression, 3 square root of 20, is simplified to 6 square root of 5. Now I can't forget to multiply. So now I need to multiply these pairs. When you multiply, go ahead and just multiply the numbers that are outside of the square root. So 4 times 6 is 24. The square root of 5 stays right next to it because there's nothing to multiply with next to this 4. So this is my final answer. Okay, go ahead and try these problems, and I'll see you in class tomorrow.